You have been extremely active over the course of, shall we say, 20 years, but we know it's definitely more, super active in fitness, in hospitality, holding prominent positions with Six Senses, with Mandarin Oriental, with Accor recently as the immediate past Vice President Global for the well-being of the whole entire group of Accor. What are your observations over this past time? Because sometimes this organization or that organization mention trends, new trends, but you've seen these trends for decades.
To try and answer your question, and I've had the advantage of working all over the world and seeing different things. So what is a trend in one area might not be a trend in another area. But the one that I particularly want to highlight, because it's topical in this conference, is medical wellness is as a trend. We're using that term medical wellness today, and it's a hot topic, and it will be some very interesting revelations that come out at the conference. But it's actually not that new. It's perhaps the way we're branding it. And I give an example. One that I think is really relevant is the works of people like Mark Hyman, Dean Ornish, and Andrew Weil. They were enlightened doctors out of the US that wanted to go beyond fixing the ailment, and they wanted to look at the holistic nature of the body. And today, now, they head up places like Cleveland Clinic and Mayo Clinic. And in fact, the one I particularly like is Mark Hyman. He does some excellent podcasts. But way back 20 years ago, or maybe 15 years ago, he recognized that integrative health, or integrative medicine is the term he used, and he recognized that diet and nutrition had significant consequences on the results of their patients. So he developed a 7 steps to ultra wellness, 7 steps to ultra wellness. He's got various books out on it. He's on in the last 2 or 3 years. We're going back some time now. And his term is the 7 steps to ultra wellness through functional medicine. Even in the early 2000s, when I was living in Bangkok, a hospital called Bumrungrad was very well known for medical tourism. It was the place where Americans in particular would go over and get heart replacements or organ replacements. And they specialized in that. And I was always fascinated. I mean, I lived very close to Bumrungrad, and that was my local GP place where I went to get my checkups. So I was always very interested and impressed because it operated like a hospital almost. It had cafes in there, and it had a reception area that felt like you were walking into a hotel. But what I also noticed was they built something around about 2003, 2004 called Vital Life Center, which actually was not a spa, but a wellness center, and a wellness center that would take diagnostics and be able to take their patients, not guests, patients, and be able to look at them and figure out how to give them a better quality of life. That's 2003, 2004. However, it's taken until now, 2021, to get that into, let's say, medical wellness terminology. And they've just combined with the minor group hotels to launch a wellness retreat in Bangkok. And that wellness retreat will combine, I think, 60 homes, a hotel, and a medical wellness center. And I think that's a very interesting way to go. And we could go on and on and on like this. I mean, you think of the destination spas like Canyon Ranch that was formed 30, 40 years ago now, I think, almost. And you look at that, and now it has a life healing center that's got the medical practices coming in there. And they have a very strong sleep center that analyzes with a sleep lab your sleeping patterns. Cooper Clinic. When I was at university back in the 1980s, Dr. Cooper was the guy that we looked at to understand aerobic and anaerobic activity and exercise. And he had his Dr. Cooper Clinic in Texas, where he basically was the father of aerobics. Today, he has a full-blown Cooper's clinic in Texas that also has spa and wellness into it, and lifestyle and living. And then, of course, we've seen cosmetic surgery morph into the spas in non-surgical facelifts and non-medical procedures, with skincare regimes out there. And we've got a lot of skincare companies that will be at this conference that will talk about how great their products are in that realm. And then we finally got things that are more tech focused, such as cryotherapy or IV injections that I mentioned. And we can keep going on and on and on about how the medical industry and the wellness industry have moved closer and closer together. But I think the key observation is to see that they both see opportunities and practices with each other that is going to make that continuum get closer and closer together.